What's up, dudes? Max here. Once again, another huge day for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite news, because today we got the most information regarding the things that are kind of the most important, which are gameplay and mechanics, talking about everything from the tag system to Infinity Stone, as well as core mechanics that are carrying over from previous games. Now, I kind of wanted to pick and choose a few of these that really stood out to me and kind of give you my impressions on them, so my apologies if there is no camera. There's a lot of news and information happening today, so I'm doing my best to get this thing out as soon as possible. So let's quickly talk about the button layout. And who would think, just based on the previous gameplay footage, that my initial assumption would actually be correct? Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is returning to the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 style of controls. That is a light punch, a heavy punch, light kick, and heavy kick. However, since there are no technical assists in this game, Assist 1 and Assist 2 are instead replaced with a tag button, as well as a gem button used for the activation of the gem. This means that each character's launcher, which was originally the S button in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, is now going to be something similar to Marvel 2 and kind of all the Versus games before it, where there's a launcher motion of some kind, like down forward or down with heavy punch or down with heavy kick, and you'll have to figure that out for that character. But the thing we don't know is that if there's a carryover button similar to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where if you press light punch twice or light kick twice, it would actually transition from a light button to a medium button. I don't think this is the case, because they're probably going to go with something much more similar to Marvel 3, where you're able to do a standing light to a crouching light to a standing heavy to a crouching heavy to actually complete a bigger style combo. The other thing that's kind of drastically changing that has never really been this way ever in the Marvel vs. Capcom series is that this game is going to be round-based. The two characters that you actually control on the screen will die and remain on screen, which is kind of funny looking, but it does appear that the game will actually be 2 out of 3 rounds, because there is icons at the top similar to classic Capcom fighting games indicating how you won the previous round. So that's kind of a big change, and it makes a lot of sense considering the damage seems fairly high in the game right now, and the opportunities based on the tag system and everything that's available and being shown to us gives many opportunities to do hella damage in this game, making sense for the transition to a round-based system more similar to how the tag team worked in Mortal Kombat 9. It does appear that both characters have to die in order to complete the round, and that's exactly what happens in Mortal Kombat 9, so it makes sense for that kind of a comparison. Now, one of the big things that many people have been talking about is the accessibility of the game and how it's going to affect it, because we heard all this stuff about down-down motions replacing Shoryukens, and that actually ended up being true for the preview build itself, but as it turns out is not actually a final decision. But what is final and is going to be showing up is the accessibility of combos and easy hyper combos. What it really boils down to is that each character in the game is going to have a pre-canned combo that does the exact same damage that the combo normally would, but all you have to do is repeatedly press the light punch button. It'll go from a ground chain to a launcher chain, and then if you want to do a hyper combo, all you have to do is press 2 attacks. However, it's mentioned that these are not optimized combos by any means. If you want to get more damage and better damage and access to more hypers, because there's only one hyper you get by pressing 2 attack buttons, you need to play the game with normal motions and normal button inputs to get the most out of your combo damage. And I'm kind of okay with that. It's going to be very apparent who's using this easy combo mode, because the pre-can combo is going to be the same every single damn time. So I don't think that's much of a problem, and you get a limited resource availability from this combo and hyper combo. So really, if you want to have full access to what the character can do and a much more damaging string, you're just going to want to play the game normally. Now let's talk about the tag system, which is where the game gets absolutely crazy. Essentially, the overall dismissal of the assists from previous Marvel vs. Capcom games is made up through the tag system, because you can kind of use it as a pseudo-assist system in a way, because the tag allows you to literally use it at any time. During a hyper combo, you can tag in the character. During a special move, you can tag in the character. Hyper jumping to the top of the screen, you can still tag in a character at any time, and it doesn't cost a meter. This makes a ton of sense, because one of the bigger changes to the game is how damage is received for that secondary character, and if you do happen to get a combo that has both characters in there, the secondary character that the player isn't controlling will not take the double damage that they kind of have since Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Marvel 3. They will take regular damage damage, which is leading me to think that since the free flow system of this tag is going to be so much different and you're going to be doing so much more tagging than before, there's going to be a lot more blow-ups. There's going to be more situations to leave your character in a situation where they're going to be vulnerable, and they're probably not going to want that character to die immediately. Let's talk about what the tag system actually allows you to do now. DHCs do appear to be in the game, but they're in the game in a very interesting way, since you can actually tag the character in during a combo. The character in the background that you tagged out from just continues whatever they're doing, if it was a super or special like I was saying before. But since it is that way, the character you're in control of, you can choose to go for a hyper combo of their own, and then that's about it. You can tag multiple times per combo, and you can actually have multiple supers on the screen happening at one time, which alleviates the worry I had that there wasn't going to be any team combination things where both characters would come in and throw, you know, giant beam supers a la Ryu and Cyclops from previous games. Instead of that, they just give you full control over the whole damn thing. So if a character wants to throw out a super, you just tag in the next character through the press of the tag button and then do the super for them as well. But it makes a lot more sense to extend it in different ways, or try to go for a longer combo and then do another super, and then maybe even repeat the process all over again if you have meter. It sounds kind of awesome. The one thing to note, that characters will remain on the screen if they did that super or that special move. Whatever they were doing when you press the tag button, they're gonna sit there, which is what leads me to think why the damage was so low. Like I was saying, I think people are gonna get a little reckless with this thing at first, and you're gonna lose characters really fast because whatever you were doing, that's gonna remain on the screen in the background while you're controlling the other character. The other crazy thing is that for the first time in the Versus series, outside of Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, you can actually break out of combos by holding down the tag button while you are being comboed. This costs 2 meters to do, and essentially the other player will still be comboing, but it just brings in the other character while you're being hit, and then you jump up and try to attack them or stop them from hitting the opposition. But this can lead to favorable situations to the person that's actually executing the combo, because if you know they're going to tag in, you just throw out a super while that character is coming in, and they're just going to run right into the super or something like that. I do really like the fact that this game might have a breaker system, and hopefully if we get more time to play with it and check it out, that you can actually do something about it if you know your opposition is going to tag in, and you can punish them for it if you predict that it's going to happen, which is very similar to something like Guilty Gear Xrd, where if you're able to bait the burst, you get a free combo out of it, and that would be absolutely awesome. Classic mechanics like the advancing guard also does make a return, which is really good because I feel the offense in this game is going to get absolutely crazy. But one of the crazier things about advancing guard is that if you time it really specifically, apparently, you can actually reflect projectiles back to your opposition, which is a huge change from previous Marvel vs. Capcom titles, and I don't know if I like that very much. That's going to be something that we definitely will have to play with. The combo structure in the game is very similar to previous Marvel vs. Capcom titles, where you start a magic series of buttons on the ground, go to the air to do something similar, but now from the air you actually get options to spike the opposition into the wall or down to the ground, which is much different and more allowing you to tag in the partner after the spike, which does make sense and in fact reminds me a lot of a game I just recently played, which was Hyper Dragon Ball Z, and it is super fun in that game. One other thing that is mentioned is that throws will absolutely negate some of the damage from combos if you combo after a throw. Naturally, with the tag system, you can tag at any point, so if you throw the opponent in a certain direction, you can tag in your opposition to pick them up and continue for a combo. A lot of combos in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 began with throws for many characters, and that really isn't changing here. It's just that, similar to the previous game, it's going to scale the damage down a bit, which makes a lot of sense and I'm okay with, but there's still no confirmation on what button is used to throw, if you can still option select jumping back and forward heavy punch, or if you actually have to press the classic Street Fighter way of light punch and light kick. We still don't know, and I'm very curious to see how that goes, but I do like the fact that you still can combo after throws. And finally, one of the biggest aspects of the game that we have finally seen some concrete information about is Infinity Stones and what they're going to do. Because right now, they very much resemble a groove style system from previous Capcom games like Capcom vs. SNK 2, where depending on which of the 6 stones you will pick, and we only have seen 3, they will dramatically change how your combo structure works and you play with a character, which is fantastic, meaning that not only do you get each of the characters on your team to represent the team, the different gem stone that you actually pick for that team will dramatically affect the way they play as well. Each Infinity Stone has a regular ability that you can use, as well as super abilities that have a longer duration and a shorter duration depending on when you activate them. To fill up the meter, it's kind of similar to previous games where you take damage for a comeback mechanic, because this is essentially the comeback mechanic of the game, or you can fill it up the more you actually use it itself. The three that are in the game right now are the Power Stone, the Time Stone, and the Space Stone. The Power Stone's ability actually activates and gives you a wall bounce, but if you do it super, where the background changes, it gives you a wall bounce as well as more damage to their combos or regular attacks. The Time Stone lets you dash through projectiles and behind opponents, as well as, I believe, air dashes as well, and it lets any character do that, which is crazy, but at the same time, if you activate it super, where the background changes to all green, you get super speed a la level 3 X Factor, and your recovery time is almost nothing, so every character becomes super fast. And the Space Stone, which is one of the most interesting, if you activate it regularly, it pulls the opponent close to you, which is great for rushdown and command grab characters. And just imagine pulling a character towards you with the Space Stone and then tagging at the same time, so you don't know where the mix-up is gonna go. And then you can actually activate its super, where the background goes blue, and it literally locks you in a cube, or as many people are calling it, the shame box. And that's just 3 of them of 6 that will be in the game, which is fantastic. A lot of the things that are going on with the gameplay and the mechanics of this game have me extremely excited. The only thing that could really mess everything up is if I play it and something just feels horrifically wrong. But from what I have seen of the speed of the game and everything right now being very similar to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it does look pretty good. I haven't even talked about characters and specific character stuff and many other things that still need to be discussed, because this is just mechanics, but that's all I got for right now. I'll be back with more as soon as possible, guys. If you liked the video, I very much appreciate a subscription, because there will be thorough coverage of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite on this channel as soon as it's available. As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.